That was enthusiastic. I like it.
Hello.
Thanks for tuning in to Waterbox Live. Waterbox Wednesday. Hello.
Make sure you guys smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, because we are live here every week, and you don't want to miss out on all the cool content that we're bringing you here from the new Waterbox studios.
Yep, absolutely. We're also giving away 2 $50 gift cards today. So currency to win. Active in the chat. Smash that like button. Subscribe. All the stuff that you just said. Ask questions, because we are going to take questions throughout the stream or later for Q&A. So drop them in there. Make some friends. Chit chat, whatever. But that's the currency to win, is being real active in those comments.
Yes, we'd love to see you guys engaging with us, asking questions, because again, like I always say, we do this live stream format so that you guys can engage with us. It's not always easy and maybe a little daunting to set up a saltwater aquarium, so we like to be here to engage with you guys live. So
we get a lot of great questions every stream, so you can probably actually learn some stuff, but definitely get those started into the comments now, because we're going to pull them as we go throughout the stream. But if you've been tuning in throughout the last couple weeks, is you've been seeing the transformation of our MarineX 110.
Yeah.
We had the MarineX 90.3 Plus edition here, and we have also now brought in the 110, and we are moving everything over into that one. So we've gone through aquascaping, we've gone through cycling.
I was muted.
We've been going through all of that, and it's now time to move the Livestock from the 90.3 into the 110. Because that's the model that's staying here at the studio. 93 come down. So we're going to go talk about transferring Livestock to your new Waterbox.
Cool. On
that one today. So we do have a video kind of showing the process we're going to talk through.
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right, first off is get all your buckets and containers together. You're going to want to pull the water from the aquarium first, because you want to pull it before you start making it all mucky and dirty. So pull all the water you're going to need into bins, buckets, whatever you have. Make sure you have more than enough space for everything that you need to take out. And here we're going to start pulling the corals. Taking the ones that aren't attached to the rock, they're the easiest to start with. This one is our big red goniopora. This actually comes from ORA.
Look how small I got.
I know. So when you have something that is like an LPS that has really big tentacles, you want to shake it and kind of get it back into its skeleton. If you lift it out when it's super full, you're going to tear those tentacles. You're going to cause damage, because they're 90% water and they shrink in really easily. So
basically piss it off, right?
Yeah, get it to go back into its skeleton. Torches, hammers, all of that. Same theory. Don't pull it out of the water when it's fully inflated. You want to kind of get it into the skeleton a bit. For here, we've got some leathers that are attached to the rock a bit, but I don't want to take any of the rock into the 110. We did a full new aquascape. You can check out that video. So we just want the coral. So I'm going to peel it off, and it's not happy about it. But they do peel off pretty easily. You can see I just kind of slowly with my fingers peeling up and away from on the rock. You are going to have it kick out some goop. Tissue, goop, slime, unhappiness, but it's going to recover and be just fine. And this is all
that's what you're seeing there.
Yeah, and that's also why I say take that water out first, because you don't want that like mad coral water being put into the buckets either. So now we have some corals that are on the rock. And we don't want to take the rock over, so we got to get the corals off. A little flathead screwdriver works well for ones that aren't like fully encrusted. And here we have like a patch of clove polyps, and I just want to chisel the rock down and get just those clove polyps off. So hammer, chisel, flathead, whatever you need. You can usually chisel off that one section pretty well. So we move the lights over to the 110 since we're moving all the coral over. We use a lot of the same equipment, since the 90.3 and the 110 are pretty
Yeah.
similar in
They
size.
both use the same lighting.
They use the same lighting. Got her all fired up.
Those brute Tupperware bins come in handy when you're doing stuff
Yes,
like this.
they are. They're
They
really
probably
good.
come in handy just in general, even if you're not moving a tank. Like having those on hand that are relatively sterile and haven't had things in them is good.
You need to scrub down a rock because of problem algae,
Mm-hmm.
move stuff around, whatever the case may be. Bins are your friend. They're a lot easier to work with than buckets. So now the 110 has been fully cycled. We've gone through the cycling process. We've been testing. We've been dosing. We've been ghost feeding for the cycle, and we know that it's stable to move stuff into. Now I'm placing the corals where ideally I want them to be. But I'm not going to glue anyone down. I'm just going to wedge them in place as best I can, because you don't know that coral is going to like the new spot that you pick. So you don't want to go and glue them, epoxy them down, and then realize it doesn't
not
open
working
up,
out.
doesn't like the lighting or flow in that spot. So put everything in initially where you want. Give it a few days. If they're happy, go ahead and glue and epoxy them down. If they don't seem to be opening up well, try another spot until you find their happy place before you make it permanent.
That gonopore, that's an ORA gonopore, right?
Yeah, that's the ORA Ray gonopore from the original ORA build. It's huge when
It
it's
was
open.
pretty small when it came in.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it wasn't like teeny tiny, but it has grown a ton. So here, I'm just doing my best to kind of wedge it in the area that I want. They do decide to come out of that area and fall off the rocks or whatever without being glued, but I don't want to make it permanent until I know that that's where they're going to be happy at. And even from when we first moved the corals in there, things have already been moved. It's usually not first place is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So got all the corals put in, and now we're going to go ahead and take out all the rock. We're not transferring any rock into the new aquarium.
So all new rock.
All new rock. But as I take each piece out, make sure you're checking for any snails and crabs that might be hitchhiking or in the crevices. You don't want to take them out and let them die. Collect them into the bucket as well. And then also, make sure you dig around your sand bed for any conchs, Nacerius, Sarah snails, any hero crabs that might be hiding. So you don't leave them in them.
They're very beneficial to your tank.
Yes. Now, don't go and try and catch a fish with the rock in the aquarium, because that ain't going to happen. It's going to be very frustrating for everybody. In this type of situation, take the rock out first. Now, if you're just transferring an aquarium, it's going to be a little bit different, because a lot of times you're going to use some of your rock. You're going to bring some more stuff over. But this is a complete basic upgrade, and we're just taking livestock over. Since it is a new aquarium, anytime you buy anything new or move to a different setup, you do want to acclimate.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy a fancy acclimation kit, or you can use a simple piece of airline tubing for like 1 penny and basically clip it on, tie a knot in the end, and you can tighten or loosen to get the drip rate that you want. And then what you're looking to do is acclimate them for about 30 to 40 minutes and double the water volume in that amount of time. And that's enough for them to get used to temperature, pH, all of the different parameters of your new aquarium. Even if they're very similar, you do want to just do the acclimation to be on the safe side. Minus plenty wanted to go for, yeah.
He wanted to go surfing on the tile.
So we're just putting every button in to the 110. Maybe realize that we really need to up our inverts, because there was not that many left. You'll find the inverts just do kind of slowly dwindle off. Adding our power head in here. This is really important, especially putting the new corals over, because they're gonna have a lot of slime and stress gunk, and this is gonna help kind of clean that off and get them cleaned up.
Very nice.
Yes, and everything adjusted in very nicely.
So what's cool about this, you guys, is if you already own a Waterbox, there's a very good chance that you'll want to do something bigger one day.
Yeah.
And we've done a lot of these videos because of that. Because a lot of Waterbox owners, they buy, a 90.3 and they're like, I want to go to 110.4, I want to go to 150, etc. So this is really good tips for when you want to upgrade your tank, or if you're just moving your tank. But the way that Jess did it is the most ideal way,
Yeah.
where you have a new tank already set up and you're just transferring everything.
I do. I prefer, I mean, if it's possible, and it's not always, sometimes you're just moving your aquarium, and we do actually have a video on that kind of goes through a good step to step. But if you have the ability when you're upgrading your aquarium is to have that other aquarium in a different spot, and then have your old one where it is, and this may not work for everyone, that's the ideal situation, because taking one tank down in the same spot, putting everything off to the side, and then setting up a new one in that same exact spot, very stressful, because there's a lot of time and delays and things that can happen when all your livestock is just sitting there kind of waiting. So you do want to use caution when possible. You know, if it can go in a different spot, that's great. You know, it doesn't always work out that way, but it is going to be the easier method. So
Yep.
depending on our situation.
I do want to mention again, you guys, we are giving away this is a new thing that we're doing. We always give stuff away.
Yep.
We're giving you guys gift cards lately. So we're giving away two $50 gift cards tonight. The currency to win that, one of the mandatory things is to hit the like button.
Yes.
Because that helps us out a lot. The other thing is engage with us. We're here live so that we can answer your questions live. We don't always get to every single one, but we do our best to get to as many as we can. So definitely engage in the comments.
And I want to make a note that
Yeah.
the number of people watching never matches the amount of likes. And that is a problem. It takes like a split second to hit the like.
Yes,
and
I
that's
want
what we
you guys
ask.
to smash the like button, punch it.
You can gently touch it
Yeah,
as well,
Yeah, you can just, use your finger like normal.
like a
And
normal
then
person.
you can also just let us know how else you liked the stream
Right.
as well.
But yeah, so it never matches, which is unfortunate. So do hit that like button, because like I said, it does help us out a lot, and it is
Yeah.
part of the currency to win gift cards. So we have a quick little look at the Marine X110 and how it's looking after everything's kind of moved in and transferred. Okay, I will put a note in here is earlier, so this was shot just a little bit ago. Earlier today, we were recording some content and videos for you guys that's going to be dropped later. So the tank is a little cloudy. Some of the corals are closed. It was a coral feeding video, so it's not as pristine looking as it actually usually is. It was just really bad timing to grab this footage. But as you see, everything looks good. Not all the corals are in the same spot when I first put them in, because
Yep.
things opened, things were bigger, they didn't like it, I moved them. You kind of have to adapt to what the corals are telling you.
Yep.
Don't force them to be in a spot they don't like. Move them around. Make sure that they're happy. Polyps are open. All of that. Fish adjusted well. We'll note, anytime, even if you cycled, add your beneficial bacteria. Feed lightly. Don't go and add new livestock for a while. Make sure everything's stabilized for a couple weeks before
Why do you think
do.
Pagani isn't open? Because he fed?
Yeah, no, he was part of a spot feeding video.
Okay.
So don't mind him. He's happy. He's having lunch. Yeah, so we were recording some content earlier today and has made the corals a little bit
How
close.
do you guys notice that we weren't here last week?
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a plague going around, and we just don't have a choice but to skip the live stream. In the past, I think I've had you do it alone.
Yeah, you have. You'd be like,
Yeah,
I'm out.
maybe
You do
one
it.
time though.
Probably, I think once or
I
twice.
think you've done it like 2 or 3 times alone, and you've done it by yourself too.
Really?
Did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. So.
Wow.
I gotta go find that episode.
And we decided that was not the best way to go, to be up here as solo,
Well,
and it's better just not to do it
It was
for that
probably
week.
relatively in the earlier days of Waterbox Live, and we were like, we can't miss a day. We have to do it no
Yeah.
matter what. And now we're like, you guys just need to miss us a little bit.
Right. It makes you miss us even more and appreciate when we're back. No, yeah, it's that time of year where the temperature is like 80 degrees,
Yeah.
30 degrees, 50, like it's all
Yeah.
over the place. So I think we're just, yeah,
Yeah.
you time a little bit stuffy,
Also, the
but
pollen is just wow now.
someone wants to know what's going on in Florida. There you have it.
Yeah.
All right, we got some questions coming in.
It's a crisp 78 degrees.
Today is
by the
beautiful.
way. Yeah.
Will not lie. I will not. Today is
It's the
beautiful.
first like really warmer day we've had in a while.
Yeah,
So,
I think we're trending to actually nice weather.
Yeah.
For all y'all still stuck in like 10 foot of snow, I am sorry.
Yeah.
But that's
you know
why
what's
we live
funny
in
is I've
Florida.
been like complaining like, oh man, I'm tired of going outside and it's cold in the morning.
Yeah.
And then today I came outside and I was like, oh man, it's warm. So I guess just nothing's good enough.
He's never gonna be happy. If you ever wonder about Rich, he's never gonna be happy.
Meanwhile, there's people that are like having to dig their way out of their house. You know, they're like, how do I get to work? Brian's asking. Oh, he's not asking anything. He's saying he's acclimating snails as we speak.
Good job
Cool.
acclimating, especially
Yeah, yeah.
inverts. Inverts are real sensitive to
Yeah.
those changes. So I think they're even more important than fish to acclimate.
Colby, what is the best way to test flow? I was a Waterbox Cube 10 debating if I need a power head or not. Is the standard return pump enough? I don't mean to butcher those. I just sometimes, you know, these guys are probably typing on their phone.
Yeah.
So, but anyways.
So basically, you want your corals to have good movement. You don't want buildup on them. Also, pretty much any aquarium will benefit from a power head. You may just have to keep it on a lower setting for something smaller like a Cube 10. However, if you have, you know, stuff that settles behind rocks, you know, your corals might be not opening as much, or if you go in there with a turkey baster and like blow off your rock and a lot of detritus and stuff comes off, means you probably need a power head to help keep that suspended and into the filter versus settling in the aquarium. So I think anything benefits from a power head, even small ones.
What percentage should I run with Vectra L2 on a Reef LX290 to achieve silence and get proper turnover?
So for the most quiet operation, we recommend like 5 to 8 times turnover through our plumbing. And this is going to let you dial it in, be silent in the overflow box. The sump is going to be quieter as well. When you push too much flow, you're going to have things be a little bit louder. It can handle it, but it's not going to run as silently as you want. When you have it dialed in properly, your skimmer and your return pump should make more of a hum noise than you're going to hear from your water, from your plumbing.
Right, exactly. Linda Reeve, should you get new sand when changing fish rock corals to a new tank? That's a good question.
Never transfer your sand bed unless you just set up your aquarium and you're moving brand new sand. That is the #1 way to kill your aquarium.
Yeah.
Is to scoop out that sand and move it over. There's so much detritus that's built up. There's a lot of bacteria that needs to be at certain levels. You can have gas pockets. Do not do it. It may cost you, depending on the size of the tank, $50 or a couple hundred more to get new sand, but you have got to use new sand. And we're gone. Goodbye, guys.
Powering down. Yeah.
During the transfer, at which point do you need to?
Oh my God.
All right, I was like, I should have checked that because I saw the name of who it was during the. When do I need to? It depends which tank you're talking about, Cole. Don't piss in your fish tank.
I mean, you could technically recycle it, right? I mean, I'm not going to go there, but I mean, in fish farms and things, I'm not, but yeah.
But you wanted to.
It can be used, but don't do it. Just don't. There's easier ways. Cole, we love you.
Would I be able to reuse someone else's sand? I bought a 40-gallon breeder to turn it into a neat display sump. They had some Fiji pink sand. It would be okay washing them and drying it out.
Yeah, I mean, if you take it, completely clean it out, and then dry it out, it's now dead sand, so you can definitely reuse it at that point.
Yeah, but just go get.
It's a lot of extra
live
work
sand.
for the amount of money that would cost to put sand in there. I don't know if it's necessarily worth it. And also, it made me think, rock is the same way, but sand is too. If that aquarium that it came from had high nitrates or high phosphates, that's going to be in the rock and sand and can leach at time. If I'm like, oh, why do I have nitrate? Why does all this phosphate coming from? And it can actually be leaching from old rock and old sand.
Yeah.
So just don't do it. But you can.
Thank you, Daryl. What are the beginner types of corals to start off with? Do you recommend a lagoon tank for them?
I like Lagoon, or I'd call it the frag is kind of what we go for, is for the light titles being a little bit shorter. When you're stocking your aquarium, the first corals to start with are going to be soft corals. Zoanthids, star polyps, leathers, clove polyps, all of those, they're forgiving. They grow fast, they come in a lot of variety, they're usually a little bit cheaper, and they can handle things not being as consistent while you're kind of getting your dosing regimen figured out and all that. Like, soft corals are going to be most forgiving, and definitely start there. Then you move to LPS once those have been established for a while.
If you guys don't notice, we lost our main camera. This is a live show. That stuff happens. They're working on it, so you only get to see us individually. That's okay. Are there any corals that beginners should avoid?
Yeah, if you're starting your aquarium, do not go jumping into LPS, and don't go. There's your chance.
It was forced. It was meant to be. We were talking about it.
Talking about this before the show. They could creep into my shot.
There we go.
See if it stays there.
See if it stays. Yeah, okay. LPS, SPS, don't start with those. Start with soft corals. Don't get into the harder ones just thinking you want to jump forward. Even if you decide you want to do some leathers and zoos, but that's not your goal, take them out later, then swap over. But you need to get that kind of under your belt time where something's forgiving, and that's going to be your soft corals. Otherwise, you're going to waste a lot of money.
Things in reef aquariums take time. You
Yes.
got to get your experience. Nothing good happens fast. So take your time. That's the biggest
Yeah.
thing with
Patience is
starting out.
huge.
Yeah, you want to jump into a lot of stuff real quick, but usually it doesn't go well. What coral inverts microalgae would you put in a display refugium? I'm assuming
Display refugiums can be super cool.
Yeah.
Now, it's not going to be easy to find a lot of different varieties of macroalgae that's fun to look at, but you can find those. Something that would really neat in a display refugium would be nano inverts, sexy shrimp, pom-pom crabs, squat lobsters, all these cute little things, maybe a little goby and pistol shrimp pair, and then you can have your fun algae, like the dragons algae, there's hairbrush and stuff. So find some unique ones. Those fancy ones are not going to be as good at nutrient uptake as having a refugium full of Kaido, but it's going to be cool to look at. And you can still designate a certain amount of area to Kaido, which is going to be a better nutrient import, but you can make a really cool looking thing and have some really neat nano inverts that you can actually appreciate in it.
Cool. Refugium before skimmer or after?
Our sumps are designed for the refugium first. And, some people ask, is all the copepod larvae and copepods that go through the refugium, which you're supposed to be breeding them in there, is going to get sucked up by the skimmer. The percentage that get sucked up by the skimmer, they're going to mostly just get shot back out of it. The skimmer foam is not meant to take up organisms. It's meant to take up organic waste. So it's not going to take in your copepods and put them into your skimmer cup. I think that's most people's worry is the skimmer takes out that.
Yeah,
It's not going to. If it had any effect on your copepod count, it would be so nominal you would never be able to measure it. So ours is refugium, then skimmer, then return pump.
Thank you, David. Just moved 5 tanks to a new home.
God.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
So hard, but thankfully we had time to cycle at the new house.
Yeah, if you were doing 5 tanks as a move and then had to get set back up, that's horrifying. That's days and days worth of work. And I always tell people, if you're actually moving an aquarium and it's going from one location to another or whatever, set aside 1 to 2 days. You may think it's going to be 4 hours. Plan nothing for a day or two, because if something goes wrong, there's some delay, anything, you have to be able to work through it, because you have live animals in a bin, you have corals, they can only stay there but so long if you're not prepared for long-term housing.
Yep, do not plan anything. That is what you are doing
Your
until
life
it's done.
revolves around that aquarium until it's set up and cycled and ready.
I do want to mention, I see a lot more people in here than there are likes on the stream.
Oh, snap, see?
So it's mandatory to like the stream. YouTube made that rule, not me. So like the stream, helps us out. It helps us out tremendously, but also it's the currency to win one of the two $50 gift cards that we're giving away today, as well as commenting, being active in the comments, engaging with us. That's why we're here. Got a question. Dream tank is a seahorse tank. Have you guys done anything like this? I'm still researching the whole thing until I'm confident enough to care for them, since they're delicate.
We haven't done a build ourselves, and I've had a lot of people request it, and I've had seahorse aquariums. I've helped customers set up seahorse aquariums. They're cool, but they're very specialized, and they're not necessarily hard to take care of because they're all aquacultured now. If you're going to get a pygmy one, we're talking probably a little bit very different care.
Yeah.
You're talking about your standard types. They're not hard to care for, but they're slow. They don't do much. You know, just consider that you're very limited. What aquarium you're set up for seahorses is, it's going to be seahorses. You're going to have to spot feed. They're going to make the tank dirty. You have to do some extra maintenance. So while they are like a dream keep of a lot of people, the functionality versus reward is not always there on that type of setup. What do you see?
I see a lot of spam.
I saw that guy. You want a ban?
Yeah, ban.
No, let us know not to do that. Lawrence loves fish.
Lawrence loves fish.
You
Do
can
not.
put them on a timeout.
Timeout.
Yeah, I've done a seahorse tank in the past, and I mean, they said they're doing their research. That's the biggest thing, because it's not. To me, it's not as interesting as a reef tank.
Yeah.
Because it's so specialized, and you really got to be into like that specific species, in my opinion.
Right.
I have a small chip the size of a dime on the lower right corner of my Infinia 230.6. When the mover sat down on the tile floor, no additional cracks within the chip will compromise the aquarium.
You can always send us a picture to support for a full evaluation, and we'll definitely be able to take a look. But as a general rule, if it's not touching the silicone, you're probably just fine on a smaller chip on a corner. If it does interact with the silicone, send us a picture for further evaluation.
That's always a bummer.
Bummer, and hopefully those movers will pay for replacement if there is an issue.
Yeah, the reality is that glass breaks. You know, you got to be
Don't
real,
set it on the
gotta
ground.
Yeah, you got to be really careful with it.
Last question.
Last question. Before I order, do Radion arms fit an LX Eurobrace tank or the side arms? Either one.
Either one, man. We
Either
design
one.
them to work with that. With pretty much most major brands of light arms or fixtures fit the LX Euro bracing.
Yeah, the LX is really cool because it has the not just a traditional brace tank, it's a Eurobrace tank. So the Eurobrace is a single piece of glass that we drop down into the tank and we glue it. But then we've also cut out sections for mounting arms that go over the back of the tank like this, specific to, you know, like AI or Ecotech to fit most of those mounting arms.
Can't go wrong with the LX. It's a beautiful setup. Like most people, when they think of bracing, they think of like those crossbars where it's piece of glass glued to a piece of glass glued to another piece of glass, and just kind of like perimeters and crosses around. Take a look at the LX, the Euro, like you said, Euro bracing. Even a lot of people call Euro bracing those braces. We're not gonna go there.
Yeah.
But this is
that would
like
be standard bracing.
Yeah, that's standard. It seriously is. There's no glue points to the glass. It's just cut out sections. It's absolutely beautiful. It's so clean. You can barely tell it's there. So don't be scared by the word bracing, because it's not like most.
And if you guys want to see a build on an LX, I'm sure there's going to be one happening here, right?
Yes. Yes, there is.
I've seen this question come up a couple times, and I figured you'd bring it up to you guys.
Okay.
Are you guys married?
No.
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 No, we are not married. Jess has a family. I got a family.
We've worked together for about 7 years, though.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we know each other well.
Yep.
Okay, we're ready for winners.
All right, ready?
Alrighty.
Ready?
Go.
All right, winners for gift cards.
Waterbox drum roll. Sean Hendricks and I'm going to start to say it. Come on, Jim.
Come on, Jim.
Congratulations, you guys. Email winners@waterboxaquariums.com. They will collect your social security number, your date of birth, your address, and all those good things. Obviously, I'm kidding. I'm always kidding.
It's not really, but yeah.
Yeah.
Email winners and then also include the country that you are from so that we can issue the gift card under the right country. And then tomorrow morning, you'll hear back from us and you will get that gift card. And we're back here next week, as long as no one is like during the plague again.
Yeah, we got lots of spam today. Ban him too. You know what, guys? I love the ban button.
Yeah. I'm going to start banning y'all.
Oh.
Oh man, someone's very
If you guys
mad.
haven't already, also check out our Facebook group. You didn't say that already, did you? Okay, good.
We actually did not talk about our Facebook group today.
Yeah, if you guys haven't already, we're approaching, I don't know, 30,000 users on there. It's a really great, friendly group where you guys can engage with other hobbyists, other water box owners. There's a tremendous amount of them. Get inspiration. Find somebody that inspires you to set something up. So hit that up on Facebook. Again, we are live here every week, as long as there's no plague.
Yeah. as long as those numbers are down for the count again.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. So they'll get that out of our system. But we'll be here next week. See you then.
guys.